To another episode of last week's Comics Today. I think, at least for the month of April, my pull list is leveling out. So I'm getting on average about 10 books per week, which is nice. It's probably not going to last, but I'm not overwhelmed one week and then have almost nothing to read the next. So I'm enjoying that. Let's get into this pile. Up first we have Hulk issue 6, and this is the end of the Smastronaut storyline. Smastronaut. And I really don't want to read the Hulk-Thor crossover that's coming up. I really have no interest, and it won't be drawn by Otley, which reduces my interest even further, because Otley is, honestly, I've said this before, the main reason I'm buying this book. And I think that's sort of exemplified here. There's three basic settings. There's the outside world where President Ross is attacking Hulk. This is another universe they happen to be in. There's inside Banner's brain where he is driving the Hulk engine. So there's three settings, and I got a bit confused here with what was happening where. But this thing does emerge, and I don't know, it's fine. I'm not really entirely sold on continuing to read the book, but I'm mildly interested in picking it up again after the crossover that's about to start. And Previews is coming out next week, so I imagine I will be sending an email to my comic shop with changes. I don't know. Changing my pull list seems like a lot of work. It's really not. It's pretty easy. But I just haven't removed this off my pull list yet, and I think I should. Up next we have Black Hammer Reborn. This is issue 11 of a 12-issue series, and I'm not sure what I can even say about this, because it seems like everything in here is going to be spoilers. But at the end of issue 10, I said that a character winds up somewhere that he's not supposed to be, and I was pretty excited about that, and we get much more of that here. It does start, I think I can show this off. It starts off a bit back in time. So we saw this scene a few issues back where Weird kills a family. It shouldn't be funny, but it was surprising. Now we've seen what happens next from one perspective. Now we're seeing it from another perspective, and it was very interesting. I enjoyed this quite a bit. There is, I don't think, let me see. Alright, so here it says Black Hammer Saga concludes next month. That's not entirely true. So Lemire is currently doing Black Hammer material on his Substack. Almost forgot the name of it. In this week's Substack email, he was talking about next year, so 2023 being a 4-issue series, I believe, that will conclude the Black Hammer universe. Supposedly. Kind of, hopefully not. I really like, and I think it has enough legs to keep going, but I guess we'll see next year. One more issue of Black Hammer Reborn that will be next month, and I can't wait. I'm super excited and interesting to see where things go, how all of this wraps up. It should be awesome. Next we have World's Finest issue 2. I wasn't completely sold on the first issue. It was solidly okay, and I said that I was mostly getting it for Dan More's art, not Mark Waid. Mark Waid? Not Mark Waid's writing, but I did grab issue 2 off the rack, and I don't think I was paying attention the first time. Was this subtitle in there and I just completely missed it? We do find out much more about Nezha in this particular story, because the first issue really didn't have any reference to this. But I got to this page. I've been doing a bunch of customizing this week, either dismantling toys so that I can paint them or painting. And I got to this page, and I'm like, oh, I've seen these shoulders recently on Triclops and Trapjaw. I wonder if I can make a custom Cliff. And I was looking at what I could do to make a custom Larry, and I'm like, oh, just have customizing on the brain. But we do get some Batman, Superman, Supergirl, Doom Patrol action going on. We get this scene here, which I like a lot, and it almost seems like there's two different writers going on here. So we get this pretty amazing scene. This is a highlight for me. We get this scene of Supergirl carrying Robin, and this both gave me Invincible flashbacks, but then the writing itself is just stellar here. So they're having a conversation talking about something that has happened in their past, but we don't know anything about it. I kind of hope we learn more about this because the scene is just really well done. This argument is just great. So we get this where the audience is a bit clueless, and just before that we get this sort of old school writing of explaining everything for the sake of the audience, and this feels dated. One page later, this feels modern, and I don't know what to make of that. I don't know. The art's still great. The story is, at least so far, interesting. If it is a bit weird, I'm still not a fan of the writing, but I am a fan of the art. I don't know how I'm going to reconcile that yet, but I'm enjoying it for what it is. Between issues 13 and 14, the solicit for issue 15 coming out in June went up, and it was announced that 15 will be the final issue. I've suspected that for a while just because of the escalation of the story, but things escalate so much further. So the book starts with the old James house in basically a heap, and the ghost-powered mech is poised for victory when some reinforcements show up. So this is another ghost. It's sort of like Voltron, they merge. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else in this book that I can show. Everything would be considered spoilers, but you're probably not reading it, and I think you should, because the series is great. I've been telling kind of everyone I talk to that this book is great since the beginning. It is highly enjoyable. It is supernatural. There are ghosts that power a house, and the house seeks revenge on things, and then there is another set of ghosts that power up a mech, and then the ghost house versus a ghost mech. It's very interesting in 14 issues, but there's a lot of heart in this as well. There's a lot of sort of coming of age stuff, even though characters are dying left and right. The survivors are dealing with that aftermath. They're dealing with really everything from their lives, but there's an emotional depth to this that is surprising and excellent, I'll say. And the art's great, writing's great. I'm showing this off already. Art's great, writing's great. I suggest picking this up, and I don't think anyone is, and I'm gonna keep talking about it until somebody does. Next up, we've got Jonna issue 9, and this is the first issue after a couple of months being on hiatus. The previous issue ended with a bit of a surprise cliffhanger, so we get the immediate after effect. We get the... Let me show you. There's something that I'm very specifically not going to show you, and then a couple of characters that I am going to. So these two return near the end of the book, but we actually, it starts with them as well. So it's kind of a flashback because the two of them, she is here, and here he is. So we see a bit of their origin, or how they got to where they are. And we see something else as well. I don't know if I just showed that, but we do get some monster fighting action, and I want to show off this lettering as well. There is kind of this soap monster that's bubbling up. And then we get this page, which I thought was great. It's another example of what I think is some great lettering. This series is a lot of fun. I've been suggesting this, just like Homesick Pilots, from the beginning. I think more people should be reading this. It is a heck of a lot of fun. It is a little girl fighting monsters. It's awesome. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, for a series that I'm not actually reading, this does keep popping up in my pull list. So this is a pretty massive book. It is mostly reprint material. Of the 2 previous annuals, issue 84, and then I think this is new because I have not read this, the opening 6 or 8 pages of this. I haven't read this before, but there is an event coming, I think, this summer for Ninja Turtles. It involves the Rat King. He has had a very long-running subplot within the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, and I think that's finally coming to a head with the Pantheon. So the Rat King here is very different from the animated Rat King. But I believe his long-running storyline is coming to a head, and that will be this summer. I don't know if, I thought Waltz was writing it. So he did write these 2 annuals and co-wrote issue 84, but the new material seems to be written by Chernow. I don't know. Maybe, like I said, with next week's previews, we'll find out. But there is something very specific within Ninja Turtles that I have been keeping from Dan for a couple of years now, and I am not going to show off much of the interior art because that secret is in here. I was hoping he would read the series, stumble on it on his own, or might spoil it for himself. But there is something in here that I've been keeping from Dan for a couple of years, and I hope one of these days he finds out about it because I think his mind's going to be blown. This is mostly reprint in preparation for this summer's event. If you are interested in that event, if you're interested in the, like I said, wildly different version of Rat King, this is a good refresher for that. I don't know what else to say. You probably already own this if you've been following the main Ninja Turtles series. I do own all 3 of the issues here, but I could have used a refresher. Honestly, it is a $7 refresher, but for anyone else that's new, go ahead and grab this before reading what I hope is a good event series this summer. On issue 4, I think I've explained this 3 times already, but we have a shared universe. It's also described here. There's a shared universe created by these 4 gentlemen. Each issue is one of their stories. It's written and drawn by the same creator. And so this is issue 4. It's the 4th story. Issue 5 is going to go back to the story from the 1st issue. So that is previewed here. This, I think, is one of the best. It is a space... There's a man in space who crash lands on a planet, and it's both mildly reminiscent of the recent Radio Spaceman and a bit reminiscent of Planet of the Apes, but I don't think you'll get that unless you read it. I'm not going to explain it further, but we do get... Here is some art, and it looks a bit Black Science to me. Maybe it's just the spacesuit and beard. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Anyone else see that? Art's good, story's good. This is one of the, I think, best. So of the 4 stories so far, I think this is one of the best. Grab this if you are at all interested. It's a great anthology series. Bolero, issue 4. Last issue was a surprise. So there were some surprises sprung on us, the audience. Characters knew more in essence than we thought they did. And I was hugely interested in where things were going to go next. In this issue, we get a different perspective. So she had been our main character thus far, and in this issue, it switches over to her, so we get a different perspective on events. It's still just as emotionally impactful. I think I just flipped through some things that Dan's going to have to blur out, but it's the same as ever. just from a different perspective, and it is excellent. I've been recommending this the entire time. This is probably going to be my pick of the week. We'll find out in just a minute. But this series is great. Hugely recommended. And let me see if I can find a piece of art that I can show off. So here we go. And this doesn't have anyone naked on it. There you go. It's great. Highly recommended. Lastly, we have The Good Asian issue 10. This is the final issue, but we do get this at the very back. Edison Hark will return. So that's interesting. Should be good. I hope, honestly. Bear with me just a second, but I hope that the next series is better than this. This is great. However, a lot gets wrapped up here. So a lot gets explained, and there is a whole lot of words in general. This whole issue is words. It's people talking, people explaining, people revealing secrets. I saved this for last because of the amount of words. I sort of pick the order that I'm going to read books in each week based on a couple of things. So one, I started with, I think this is the order in which I read them. So I start with generally some popcorn stuff, and the Hulk is definitely popcorn. And then it becomes sort of a mishmash of whatever I think is going to be read quickly versus what I think I'm going to enjoy most. So I saved Bolero for second to last because I thought that I was going to enjoy it the most, and it's also a larger book than standard. So time-wise, I read certain things early because I think they're going to be quick, and then I save some of the longer stuff for last. So I saved this because of the amount of words, and like I said, a lot gets revealed here. I've said this multiple times as well, but this will read much better as a collection because you won't be the story won't be spread out over 10 months. I also think this would make probably a good TV series, probably not a movie, but you get like a 6-episode series, and I think you could do this story really well. Possibly trimmed down a bit. I think you could tighten up the story a bit, sort of overlapping character motivation versus side characters actions versus main character actions. It's a lot to take in, and over a 10-month span it was a lot to keep track of. If you're interested, get the trade. It should read much better than the single issues, that's all I'm saying. Still though, it's good. I don't want you to go away thinking I didn't like it. It's good, it's just a lot to keep track of. It engages my mind more than some of this other stuff. Alright, so that was everything that I bought this week. As far as pick of the week, I honestly didn't finish reading this because I've already read it once before. I will finish reading this before I get to the summer event, whatever. But full disclosure, I didn't fully reread this this week. Jonna is excellent. Homesick Pilots is great. Black Hammer, I'm super looking forward to where this goes, but as far as pick of the week, I honestly might give it to Jonna. Yeah, let's give it to Jonna. It won't be Bolero this week. Jonna is excellent. There's some monster fighting, there are surprises, and the art and writing is wonderful. If there were a second, it would certainly be Bolero. But Jonna, I'm giving it to Jonna this week. So that is everything that I picked up this week. As always, I get all of my comics from a local comic shop. If you don't know where yours is, you can use this URL to find the one closest to you. Thanks for watching.